Thanks for that introduction, and thanks to everyone for listening in today. The topic of today's webinar is compensation-focused compliance. Is your healthcare organization ready for shifts in Stark law enforcement? And I'm really happy that you're able to tune in today. As those of you listening in likely know, healthcare organizations are paying attention to Stark law enforcement now more than they ever have. There has been a number of recent cases and settlements over the last few years, some with very large damage figures. So organizations are paying attention to Stark law compliance. They are trying to get their arms around their existing physician compensation and contracting process, and we're seeing lots of activity in that area. I work with healthcare organizations all across the country, and this is a common theme we're seeing. Again, more attention paid to the physician compensation arrangements and a desire to understand this area of the law and to understand what developing best practices in the industry are in order to improve their healthcare organizations. So really excited to be presenting to you today. I'm hoping that after today's session, you're immediately able to go back to your healthcare organization and implement some of the strategies that we're going to be talking about today. As I work with healthcare organizations, I see some key themes emerging. Sometimes I'm working with a new CEO, or I'm working with a CEO that's been with an organization for a while, and he or she has been just establishing and setting compensation however they've wanted to over the last 5 years, 10 years, and they're asking me, Joe, I've been entering into these arrangements. We haven't had a framework in place. I'm a little nervous because of the case law, and I think that's a good thing to be thinking about now because it is an area of risk. In other organizations, you see where service line leaders are out negotiating on behalf of the healthcare organization without much process, and there may be a concern by the compliance team or maybe legal counsel about whether or not the contracts are being entered into are appropriate. And then third, often another situation I'm seeing is one where a healthcare organization wants to enter into maybe a new arrangement with a rock star physician or a really productive physician and wants to make sure that that new arrangement is structured appropriately. Those are all areas that I think are ripe for doing better and nailing down a process. And as you're looking at negotiating any contract with referring physicians, it's important to pay attention to the enforcement world. I'm going to be talking about that today because it should really help you understand where risk lies whenever you're contracting with referring physicians. So I'm again excited to be here today, and I hope that you take away a lot from today's session. My name is Joe Wolf. I'm an attorney with Hall Render. We are the largest healthcare-focused law firm in the country. We have offices nationwide, over 12 offices. And I'm sorry, I'm getting some background noise from the webinar company. And I would ask them if they could mute. There we go. We have offices nationwide and clients in all 50 states. So we have an opportunity to work with very large health systems and even all the way down to independent physician practices. My practice focuses exclusively on physician compensation, Stark, and healthcare valuation issues, and that's why today's topic is near and dear to my practice area. And I'm sorry, I'm still getting some background noise through the webinar platform. If online audio could try to remedy that background noise, that would be helpful. Here's today's agenda on slide 3. We're going to kick things off with some introductory concepts using real-world examples. I'll be talking about the enforcement environment, some shifts and what we're seeing out there from an introductory standpoint. I'll take a deeper dive into the regulatory standards. I think it's really helpful to understand the law and the regulations in this area. It helps frame and convey and teach as to the shifts we're seeing in enforcement. In part 3, I will focus exclusively on those shifts in enforcement, and then we'll wrap things up with a question and answer session at the end. So again, lots to cover today. Kicking things off with introductory concepts, I like to use real-world examples, and we'll get to that in a second. I think as you look at healthcare,